What is up, guys? It's your boy GRC coming at you live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern, crypto in the morning, with my co-host Sam Stolt, producer Bullish Ox. Every single day, Twitter's going crazy. I'm getting harassed, staying off of Twitter. Watch out for the guys that copy you and DM you, because there's one of those. I had to go through every one of the mutuals and tell them that there's someone, because he was being sneaky with it. Anyway, Jim Rat Crypto, exactly how it's spelled. Nothing different. Let's get to it, guys. So we call this in crypto school the Stephen Curry scooper, and this is this is the Zen chart. So you could call this the scooper scoop. Look at this little scoopy scoop, and I know that it goes higher on the left side, but I think it's important to just look at the dramatic change. It's more of the shape rather than like what time of the chart it's at. So I think we're going to talk a little bit about that today. We got Sam here. What else are we talking about today? The HSI auctions. What else are we going to be talking about today? The Fed. The Feddy Weddy Petties. And we watched that live on the Jim Rat Crypto Show yesterday, 1 p.m. Actually 2 p.m. Eastern. That was pretty fun. I learned a lot. It was all, I had to do like plebonomics to get like decode it all, but it was pretty cool to listen to like that stuff. So we're also going to be comparing a few charts, the S&P, BTC, Ethereum, some of these other charts. GRC is trying to learn some more about the legacy side so he can have better understanding of the crypto side, and I just want to learn stuff. We're knowledge maxis here. We like knowledge. So we got Hedron, the Fed. We got the Stephen Curry scooper, Zen Crypto on Ethereum, and we're going to be talking about this stuff, comparing some charts, crypto in the morning, live every single day. Guys, go to my Twitter, smash the like on all of it. Just go over there, retweet all the hate, do all of it. Let's do Andrew Tate style with it. Bring on the hate. GRC loves the numbers. Okay, crypto in the morning, DeFi proof. The best DeFi rapper in history.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some Hedron, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Rat sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning, 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 crypto in the morning.
This show is going to be good.
Why?
Well, particularly for me, which I find very interesting, is the HSI, the HSI auction.
Not you guys watching.
Not you guys. No.
Sam needs dopamine.
This is. I'm looking at this calculator for the amount of mintable or the amount of Icosa you can get from an HSI, so that you can go through and think about this from a pricing standpoint for these HSI auctions. This is, whoever put this together put a lot of time and effort into this. I haven't played with it yet, but maybe we'll do it live later on the show. Zen is still up. We have the Fed, right? The Fed raised rates by another 0.75 of a point, 75 basis points. One of the things that happens with
Sam, but it's leaning on a turn to 0.5. Don't you understand how bullish that is?
One of the things that happens with these raising of rates is that you take this action, right? But then there's a ripple effect, right? Like if you threw a giant rock in this clear crystal lake, you throw this rock in there, and then you immediately look at the other side like that, you're not going to see the results of that rock getting thrown into the pond, correct? That's what happens when they raise rates. So there's a rock getting thrown. That's the rates are
Yeah,
going
but
up.
even more than that, because they make it a big deal. Like they give it that little like pat on the ass, like that it wouldn't even have unless they like televised it all over the world, like constantly.
There's a ripple effect from this, right? Like just like throwing the rock in the pond. There's a ripple effect on, first of all, it's going to hit the financial interest, the things that have an interest effect related to them, a lot of things related to finance, housing, etc. Then those things have another effect of them. So you have like
How much
first
of
order.
percent is housing when you talk about interest rates in that metric? Like, because you mentioned housing, and then you're like, there's other stuff too, which obviously there's loans of sorts. But like, what is the, you know, like is the majority like housing number for mortgage rate?
Well, so mortgage rates are going to be not tied necessarily directly to the rate increase from the Fed. It's separate, but the net effect is that the housing, the interest rate that individuals are going to pay is going to increase, right? So if, 2 years ago, the rate was a fraction, right? I think that you mentioned your rate is like 2.25, right? Or 2.45 or something like that percent. So if you have 2.45% and now it's 4.5% or 6.5% or 7.5%, and you think 7.5 is crazy, and it's absolutely not crazy at all. I know somebody.
Those guys were giggling about that. They're like, remember when we were doing 14 or some of the guys on the show I was watching live yesterday, and I was like, my mortgage rate is 2.5%.
Yes.
And I got my house to maybe probably about 3 years ago now.
So some of the takeaways. So I was listening to this while I was preparing breakfast and eating breakfast this morning. There's 3 things that I took away from this. So during the Q&A, as well as the first several minutes, Jerome Powell mentioned multiple times, and for people who don't understand what he's saying, I guess, he talks about employment softening. So what does that mean? Effectively, what he's trying to do is bring inflation down, right? Which is hard to do if you're printing out the fucking wazoo on the other side, right?
I really enjoyed that he mentioned that the employment numbers are hard to gauge. He really did kind of mention that. He's like, he says it's really fluffy and hard to understand. And he said that straight out, and I was like, yeah, I agree with that.
But the net effect of what they're trying to do,
right,
is going to have inflation, come down. But then employment numbers are going to go up, meaning not in terms of more people are going to be employed, more people are going to be unemployed. So the unemployment rate is going to go up based upon what he's saying. GDP, right? Gross domestic product, the gauge that most of the world uses to understand, prosperity or growth of the nation, is going to go down, right? We already know we're in a recession. Are we going to get into it?
Does the weather have a metric in all of this? Like being that half of the country gets cold as peace? Like, does that I'm asking you because I have no idea. Like, do they have that little metric in their head? Like, it's literally freezing cold over here. All the people are like, can't move for like 4 months.
Well, let's take that and zoom out. If we're like Google Maps and we zoom out, and then we can see our neighborhood, and then we see the state, and then we see the country, and then we see the world, right? Let's zoom out to a much bigger view. When you have a restrictive policy, interest rates going up here domestically, and other places around the world, you have expansionary policy, where you have, because we're going to tie this into the weather, is if you're an investor, if you're somebody who has money, where are you going to put your money? Where you can get a higher return for it. We talk about it here. I don't give a shit if it's fucking Hex or something else.
As long as you can do it with reasonable ease. Reasonable, but reasonable. It doesn't have to be the easiest thing on the planet Earth.
So now, what happens on a macro level? Places in Europe, places that are going to get cold, that have an expansionary policy, meaning they're increasing the money supply, right? The interest rates they're trying to drive down. What happens is, I'm an investor over there. I'm like, oh, fuck the euro, right? Fuck the pound, whatever it is. I'm going to move my shit to the dollar so I can earn higher interest rates. So what does that do? That means the US dollar strengthens, relative to this basket of other things. We're going to look at a chart a little bit later that is super interesting. And
yeah, well, watch out for that. That messed my reality up for a couple minutes before the show.
That was always like, holy crap, what is
well, it
this?
just makes me think of a long list of stupid people in my head. And I'm not saying stupid because you didn't get involved in BTC, but I know people that just went redonky on the S&P for a long time. Still will talk. Yeah, maybe because you're trading it every 15% move, but that's weak if you're just like a normal dude. Like you don't want to, even if you only have 100 grand, that's not gonna. I mean, yeah, but there's downside still, and it's just like, please, no, there's better things now.
The other parts
Clearly, there's better things now. Like
other parts of the world, I think are going to get the punch of this worse than the U.S. to start with because of what we're just describing. If your currency is being sold, what happens when somebody dumps a bunch of hacks? Price go down, right? What happens if you have euros and people are like, I'm earning this much here in the Eurozone and I can put my money in the US and actually earn a positive rate of return. At one point in 2020, interest rates were negative. That's very hard for people to grasp in Europe. That means you put money into the bank and your money is going down in value because the interest rate is negative, not positive. So people take their money, they sell the euro. That means that it goes down in value. So if people want energy, right? It gets cold over there. I'm in Florida. I don't give a shit, right? But it gets cold.
It gets so cold here too. Like really, like
energy costs are up, right? So
mad crazy energy costs. It's like 3x for a guy like me that goes double season. Like it gets hot here and it gets cold.
And you have like a currency that's going down in value relative to things. So that means energy has to go up in value. People in these other countries are going to be fucked.
Like, no, they're not. No, they're not. You want to know why? Do you want to know why they're not going to be effed? Fuck. Did I erase the little... I had this little slideshow for Zen Crypto, and I thought it would have been funny to play it, but I think it might have got deleted. Anyway, no, but I think in general, like not Zen Crypto only, but like low liquidity assets that have product market fit and good communities. That's what I'm gonna start saying now. I ain't talking about assets anymore. I'm not talking about this asset. I'm saying, oh, that's a good one. It has product market fit and a community and wonderful, low liquidity ish, but a good promising community. That's what I would say I would like to look for.
One way to sell people on an idea is creating a framework. You know, the people when you watch a YouTube video and it's like, hey, I'm going to show you in 3 easy steps how to make money online, or hey, I'll show you in 5 easy steps how to get rid of your fat stomach, or whatever the case is, right? They put it into a framework. So what we do is we're like, hey, in this is our 3-step framework. Got to have a community, product market fit, and low liquidity. That's where we like to put our money.
That's why, guys, I'm telling you, I know some dudes came out strong and heavy about this, bro. And I was strong and heavy in the other direction. I was throwing a little elbows. I had a little elbow grease in it. You know, I was being a little naughty, talking smack, which I don't always like to do, but I will do it if I think the guy potentially could step up. But most of the times people step down and they run away, and then they just call me a jerk off for the rest of their life. And it's just, that's cool. You know, just whatever. I don't really want to be famous or anything. So really I was a joke when I was saying like, just spam my shit with negative stuff. I don't really care. Crypto is frankly taking care of a lot of that issues for me that I don't have to deal with a lot. So, but anyway, at some point, guys, what do I know? I'm going to give you 5 minutes on Zen, and then we're going to talk about S&P, Bitcoin, a couple other charts. Okay. This is critical. So I know the Zen chart really good. I kind of paid attention to Zen really good, really as much as I probably could have in the weeks leading up to the first launch on Ethereum. Now, what did I tell everyone? I am not serial minting this thing like a crazy man. I don't like doing that. It makes my brain hurt. It makes my day kind of get like clogged up. I just don't like it. And I just could tell the returns were like good if you wanted to just, but come on, Sam, I'm in the trenches, boy. So it's either I want to go long term or short term with it, and I got to make a decision, right? So I told everyone I'm going to participate for the hell of it on a few wallets, and have some fun with it and do some, laddering. Like I think I did 8 wallets combined, but I am going to wait a few weeks, a few months, a few days. I couldn't really tell how it was going to shake out. Turns out a few weeks was plenty. To get this thing oversold and on the market. And on the one thing about Ethereum, Sam, that is different is that I intimately understood the C ranks early on because I saw everyone did 100 days because it was the first one.
You want to tell people what a C rank is real quick, just so people have an idea?
I will say, and then on Binance, it was the opposite. Everyone did 1 day. But then I'll go back to the C rank. So the C rank was basically like I was the 201st person to ever mint Zen. That means I was the 201st is C rank. That means that for that Zen at that rate, at the max days, I could get the best rate at that time. And every C rank after that, the rate goes down a hair. But when you
so what did you see with Ethereum? You saw that everybody went long.
Right.
And then tell us the difference for Binance?
What do you mean?
So on Ethereum, right?
Oh, yeah, my bad. So it was crazy to watch because no one had a clue what was going to occur. I had no idea. I did a couple interesting ones, but I really was just kind of throwing them around, trying to have a good time here. And but what you saw is 1 day minting didn't become cool yet but that's exactly what made it profitable on Ethereum. And everyone was like, damn, I didn't do any 1 day mints. Oh, those are like 50 dudes that probably hit that were like smart on that day and they got like a 20x, but whatever, right? And then it dumps, and then K for K makes that guy makes a video. Richard, that's kind of weak sauce. Jack doing interviews with everybody, connecting everyone, launching on every chain, doing everything I could possibly imagine. I couldn't imagine much more out of the man personally. And frankly, I think he knows the law and all that stuff. So I'm hoping more than because that's critical down the line. But at some point with massive downside pressure, there is equal but opposite upside pressure. And when you know that and it goes down for a long time, I start to look. I start to think,
but you also use that framework, right? There's that 3-step framework. You got a product market fit, right? People want a fair distribution, right? People want something that is going to, like how Bitcoin was distributed to miners, Hex inflation is distributed to stakers. Well, anybody could go in there and you can get this token, right? Also abiding by the principles of crypto, right? There's no founders involved who are getting 90% of the supply. There's none of that stuff going on. All this was taken care of. So you want product market fit, you want low liquidity, and you want a good community. And the community was growing extremely quick. I haven't checked the community. Is it still growing over there? I know they're still evolving, still doing
it's getting more crazy every day that goes by. There's more people from more chains hitting me up that I've ever met. I don't even know the chains these guys are coming from. I don't know who they are. Some of them are from China. And as you know, people are hitting me up from China. So like I'm like all over the place with like everything in my ecosystem as far as my DMs and my interactions has kind of shifted towards either direct hate or like super open-minded, awesome people from all around the world that are like hitting me up.
This is interesting. The chart over this is Zen data, right? This is Zen Analytics. I think this just came out recently. About Zen
Analytics.
So this is on, I believe, just Ethereum. Bullish, if you want to.
Correct, Ethereum.
So this is on Ethereum, 1.2 million user count, and you get to see the hourly claim rate as well as the total claim rate across here, how it's actually changing.
Wow.
This is interesting, right? And scroll down a smidge more. We've got from left
to
right.
Before you read any more, I want you to continue. But can you give your take? I know you're kind of like in it, but it's not like a thing you can really shark or like go after too heavy anyway. So you're kind of just looking at it. But can you give your take? Like, I know there's down pressure. I know there's downside volatility risk. Okay. I think everyone kind of knows that. I hope. I hope so. I really do think that there's 100% downside as far as like could do a full return to the floor. No problem, not even an issue. But I don't think it's like the most probable case in history. But so Sam, I want to know about what do you see? Tell the people what you see. They respect what you have to say. And you kind of have been watching. I watch you. You're watching. You don't want to say too much because how can you say too much, really? But I want to know your take right now.
So this is interesting. Like for me, seeing the amount of people get involved was a shock to me, right? The tokenomics, right? I'm like, and I own crypto. I'm not selling crypto. I have multiple stakes that are going to be coming out. I don't know the number, but it's under 5, I think, that are going to be coming out in the next 300 days or something like that. I got some 100 day and some in the future. The tokenomics are, you're like, the only way I see that the price is going to go up, the mintable rate has to come down, or the price has to come down so that it's not profitable unless you have like, a 50-day mint, a 60-day mint, or an 80-day mint, 100-day mint, whatever that is, because people are very myopic, which is a fancy word for nearsighted. But I like not having a giant portion set aside to the founder. I like the distribution of this. I love how quickly so many people got involved, right? This is interesting. This chart right here in the middle reads different claim term days user count. So Zen claim term days distribution. So it looks like out of the total amount of that 1.2 million, we had 234,000 due for one day. Bunch of people did 30 days. When is the 30-day mark? When did Zen launch, guys?
I'm going to say 23 days ago, but that's just off the top.
25 days ago. Okay, so in 5 days, there could be a very big buying opportunity. Look at this giant stack.
Wait, I need to analyze this for a second because this could be. Let's think about this for a second. Let's think about how much of the supply this could be. So let's look. It says 793.61K. Is that like?
So my understanding of this is
that's how many users did 2 to 30 days.
Oh wow, really interesting.
Yes. That's how many users. So so based on this chart,
it's critical.
Yeah, a bulk of the users did 2 to 30 days. Oh wait, I'm sorry, 50 days.
Yeah, but I know for a darn certain, like if this bar is high right here, the one at day 100 is just going to be nuclear. But that's still a big fucking dilly.
That is correct.
Oh,
different claim.
I was talking about pickles on my sandwiches. Dilly.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's the F word that was the bad one, not the dilly part.
Oh yeah, dildo's fine to say, right?
No, dilly.
Dilly. Oh, okay. Different claim term days, user count distribution. This is fascinating chart. Okay, here's another good way to look at this. Different claim terms. So in this chart here, from 0 to 30 days, from 2 days to 30 days, 41% of users were in that time period. We have 5 more days. I think there was a decent number of people who probably minted for 30 days, given this data. We haven't seen this data before. This is brand new data on Zen that I've never seen this.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking now. So the beginning lag, I guarantee there was very minimal for the 30-day point. And then some people got the calculator out and they started thinking like, oh, this is like the last spot where it's like mature enough for me to get a good bulk and there could be some supply on the market. My whole thing was like, I wanted to see how much I could get liquid before day 100. But I didn't look at this chart. I could probably, maybe it would have thrown me off or maybe it would have helped me. I don't know. But like day 100 is that day where like, but again, the bull market can just really blow through.
But look at this. You look at this though. There's about 100,000 users. 100,000 users that did 90 to 120 days. I personally thought that number would be higher.
Yeah, but I think it was like the C rank majority that was like, because that was as high as you could go, those low C ranks. And once it started spinning.
No, you're right. You're right.
So it was. I'm talking about like the supply as like. It's hard to say with Zen because it's like always not the real supply. It's kind of like the speculative supply because they don't have to mint, they could stake or there's like other things they could do with it. But really, the people that were playing under that 100-day mark with early C ranks were thinking about money.
And the other reason that 2 days to 30 days is so popular is because as soon as day one happened and somebody got a 14x on their $5 that they spent, or a 23x on the $18 that they spent, everybody was like, okay, let me do a 2-day mint. Let me do a 6-day mint. Let me do an 8-day mint. So that shot that number way, way, way up. What do we got here?
I have a dangerous 27 to 45 day ladder with my 8, with a couple of them.
So this is the juicy part. This is showing how much Zen was actually minted.
Ooh, okay, cool.
Total.
Okay, so this is an awesome chart, Bullish. Can you share this chart in the chat for people to
And the private, please.
Yeah, and the private too.
For the plebs.
For like us, for me, hello. Because guys, we didn't actually look.
You know, I'm a PP pleb.
You own PP. Let's get into this chart.
1% allocation to PP. It's already in the bank. I don't know if I'll ever buy again, but you never know. But I got it. I ain't selling it.
So we have what is this? 250 billion. 250 billion minted. It looks like in the top left corner there, right? Total Zen minted, and it's in the millions. So I think that's.
Oh my god, dude! I'm sick to my stomach.
Based on how it's labeled, this is hourly.
Oh my god, I was hoping that wasn't the truth. Otherwise, I had
Zen
so much
mints hourly. So I don't know if it's updating hourly or let me just double check here.
I hope
last updated 8 hours ago. Yeah, it's just saying Zen mint hourly. So I don't know if this is the. Let me check the contract to see what's the total supply.
Yeah, because that doesn't seem quite accurate. I mean, if you're doing 250 billion tokens an hour, that's not accurate.
No, but remember, this is the only thing I want to say. The only thing I want to say is people did not understand the minting feature. They didn't have any intricate feelings about it yet because it was the first one. So that's why I was talking about the first 100 days so heavy. I was like, the first 100 days is going to be like open space. And if that number, I want everyone to know in this chat, if that number right there has anything to do with the amount of liquid Zen that is on the market, I am fucking Godwell. Literally. But I doubt that that's almost impossible for that number to be the right one. But it could be. It could be with that pinched off like 100-day thing that I was talking.
So that looks like it's probably the total supply, and maybe they wrote it wrong on the website because this is 230.
That's the max total supply holders.
230 billion. 230 billion.
That sounds about right.
Because if you're minting, last time I tried to mint something, I minted, I don't know, close to 59,000, right, per time I did it. Total users minted.
So this actually makes sense. If it's 250 billion total, 250 million in the past hour is kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm. No, this is billion though. This is if that's the nomenclature, right? That
I see M.
Oh no, it's 250,000 million.
No, so, 250. Oh yeah, right.
It's just remember we were talking about
the way this site is setting it up. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Jack squishes the number, so they do the squishy, and then instead of saying like 200, because that says 250,000, and then there's an M at the end of it, so
which would be 250 billion.
Right. Correct. That's what I was saying. I think you were right about that.
Okay, but it's not hourly.
I'm just not used. No, that's the full one. That's the full chart.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just the number that's odd. You don't see it like that all the time.
Correct. Okay.
That must be Jack's Google shit.
It looks like we need Profeta for this. Yes.
Get it together, Jack.
But keep on.
Token amount minted hourly. Here we go. That's the chart here. The cumulative amount in the orange line there, and then the histogram is the amount that's done per hour. It's interesting. Look at the 28th, 30th, the 1st, and the 3rd, right? These spikes here. Look at these spikes. They're bigger than at the beginning. That's interesting, meaning more people are doing this? Or is this the supply? That's the total supply. My bad. That's the total supply of minted.
Yeah, these are all the people who are pushed it out further and now are minting it.
Yes, and now they're grabbing it. Okay. Another thing you can do to keep track of things, guys, if you did this is one of the things I did. I went through and I put all of my wallets along with the date when it comes out, because there's no time, right? Whenever your wallet comes out, if you did it at 6 p.m., then it's coming out at 6 p.m., from my understanding. So you got to put down the date and the time of when this is coming out, because
That's correct.
you only have 7 days before your supply that you could mint starts to go away at a rapid rate.
Right.
So write that down in a spreadsheet. Do it. Change the address in your MetaMask or whatever to, hey, the date of when you need to take it out, because there's going to be a lot of people who don't remember to do this or don't think it's worthwhile. So the supply is not actually going to be
You know
that
how many
high.
people end their hex stakes and then console with me because they forgot to mint their Hedron and they just feel like I can somehow.
Another thing to keep in mind, there's a lot of people who claimed are going to completely forget about it and not mint it.
Yes.
And you know what that means, guys.
Rocky chip.
It's just more people. You know how Satoshi's son runs around with his treasure in the basement? That's how I think about it. Like, my dad died and who knows what happened, and now he's an adult and he like wakes up one day and he's like, is that really like $100 billion? And he's like, yeah.
Let's finish running through these stats and then let's go into that other crazy chart.
For real.
Okay, so the top 100 here is interesting. Top 100 holders token percentage. So the top 100 holders hold 72% of the total supply. That's kind of interesting. I don't know this relative to anything else.
Wait, can you say that stat one more time?
So the top 100 holders of Zen, the top addresses with the most amount of Zen, all of those added up together equals 72% of the total supply.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is for BTC or anything? I think somebody in the chat probably does.
I think 40% of the BTC is like centralized, like between
200 addresses.
2,000 wallets was like the number that they used, and then Satoshi has like whatever. That's the other amount that they sometimes list on exchange, and then they sometimes don't list, whether that's circulating or not, which is completely confusing. It's like, oh, we don't know if like 40% of the supply is like valid, or is it like tradable, or is it like not tradable? It's like
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. This is this thing that you have heard about BTC. The top 2,000 addresses hold about 40% of the supply of BTC. Is that accurate or sound accurate? Like you've heard it, it might or might not be accurate.
I don't know anymore, dude. To be honest, I haven't heard or talked about BTC in so long. Like, I don't even want to like mention it anymore. I just don't know.
We have a very interesting chart that we're going to show you in just a few minutes.
BTC, but some people are not too broke for BTC. Don't you forget it.
This is true. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. I actually own a little bit of BTC.
I wouldn't be surprised if you started speculating on BTC if it dropped again.
Zen token price for last 48 hours. And then Zen price over time is coming down. Liquidity. Oh, there's a liquidity tracker here. This is interesting because I just did a live stream on liquidity this morning. If you guys want to go check it out, you can check it out on my channel. Liquidity provider count. So what does this mean here? Okay, so it tells you the total supply. 1% is in US, or 55% of the total liquidity. This is an awesome chart. Why don't we have more of these charts?
Dude, I'm telling you, this is sick. This is what, you know.
Damn, you will actually like this website. This website is Dune. So on Dune, you can go and it already has all the data points available for you in order for you to create your own dashboard similar to this.
Oh, that's dope.
Beta needs to fill us in, and this is backhanded knowledge.
Yeah, so you go to Dune.com. Sam, you'll love this stuff because you can literally pull in information that's already available in the system and also import your own from like third-party Excel or whatever the case is and create your own dashboards.
Can somebody put the BNBP information in here?
Anything you want, literally anything you want. Hex, everything's in here. Everything's in here. Hex, everything. Like you just start searching, everything's here.
Guys, someone in the chat, anyone that likes BNBP, if you know anything about this stuff, make it so I can see all the metrics, so I can be number one on all the metrics, and I can brag about it a lot. Yeah, I just want a goal. Like I like to have goals, especially when I'm joking around. So, but I want to see all those metrics. They're interesting, to be honest. All these metrics are interesting for cryptos. I want this for everything all the time.
Big. So this would be interesting data to see on Hedron, Hex, and Maxi and Icosa. You have active versus passive LP. You have big versus small LP. Yeah, see if it's in inflation, Icosa, NFTs. Let's try the total supply. See what that data has in there.
Yeah, this is a basic one. So yeah, so whoever did this just did a basic, and then you can see here some of the coding, you know, for you to do some of the stuff. But yeah, but all they did here was just a regular list. Let me see the scatter chart. Here's the scatter chart. Yeah, so you have different tools, and yeah, and if there's any experts in Dune who know how to like create it, like hit us up. We'll love to have you on the show and like run through this on how to like create custom dashboards and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll create our own dashboard. It will be the CITM dashboard.
I need analytics so I can push harder without. I mean, yes, I could go to the YouTube front end and look at those analytics, but I want super cool analytics, and I want to be able to pull them up on the show numbers. I want to show all the unfollowers, show the plebs.
I want to show that chart of BTC versus.
Yeah, we got to get off Zen first, guys. I think we've talked about Zen for probably 25 hours in the last month or two, and like frankly, we talked about it. The price did great. We're moving on. Okay, I want to talk about. We talked a little bit about the macro in the beginning, but I want to talk about the macro now in relation to some bigger crypto liquidity situations. And I want Sam to do a lot of talking, and I want you to talk about this chart. This chart is really interesting, Sam, and I just want you to go right in because I think you had the same feeling when you saw this. You were like, the fuck. Not the fuck, but like, oh my God, I can't believe it's been that drastic.
So this is in relation to something else. So the first thing people are going to be like, the S&P didn't go down in this time period. Well, this is because it's in relation to BTC. Check this out. It's a mirror image, right? When BTC
and if you see the Hex charts, a lot of the guys that look at Hex charts know this because when Hex came out, they usually show the other charts right as the launch came, and it can only really monitor from there.
And this is a massive. Check this out. Like you get to see the red. So we'll go through what it is, right?
Here, look at that first major pump on BTC. Just like, frick, what if that happens to something that we have? Oh my God.
Bro, this is going to happen with that. What's going to happen with our bags?
Crypto's going to go to the goddamn moon. No, I'm kidding. I did not mean to say that. I really didn't even mean to think about that. I was just joking. But yeah, keep talking. I'm going to stop talking.
So we have the chart here of the S&P 500 in red and BTC, right, over time. So this is when BTC came out, right, in 2010 up to about April of this year. And you get to see that clearly one has utterly dominated the other completely, like mass. This is a shot.
Like if you are the biggest, fastest, strongest NFL player in the world versus like fourth grade, like MVP in county,
or even just granny, right?
That's like complete domination in every way, shape, and form. I don't see a metric, and there's no metric you can show. And it's liquidity. You can't even. What's the S&P liquidity? I want to know how that exactly works before I hear the number, and I want to look at what Bitcoin's liquidity is. And Bitcoin's freaking wrapped Bitcoins all over Ethereum, like whatever. Like it's all the liquidity is fat, plump, and rump, in my opinion, on Bitcoin. But I don't know about the S&P.
I think the next run for BTC is going to be very bullish. Like
bullish as far as like price action, like directly X's, or like more so just like bullish as far as like really good still upside with really good liquidity.
Well, BTC is what, 500, 600, 700 billion, right, in terms of market cap. What about seeing a 10x on that number so that you have 10 trillion?
I think that's fair,
right? 10 trillion on BTC, and maybe the start of the bull, right? Maybe the start of that is in the next 3 to 12 months.
That number is fair, 10 trillion.
Right, 10 trillion for BTC
sounds super fair. I remember when it was flirting with 1. really like a lot hard over top of it, like playing like with 1.3, 1. Pretty easily for the time we were at. They were just printing out money like crazy. But a 10x from the bottom, let's say we scooch down to, I don't know the liquidity right now, but let's say we scooch down to a number that's like real comfortable. Maybe let's say 10K just for, we'll talk 10K. I mean, that's at minimum, at the worst case scenario is 100K Bitcoin, in my opinion. Worst case scenario.
Correct. But think about, say, at the peak. So this could mean in 36 months, this is at the peak of the next bull run. If BTC is somewhere in the neighborhood of, $200,000, and they're, say, $10 trillion market cap or thereabouts, think about how big crypto has to be for that to be the case, right? We're under 1 trillion now in terms of market cap in total. But if BTC itself is over 10 trillion in terms of market cap, wow, our bags are going to be utter. I mean, like
10K Ethereum minimum next run. Minimum.
I think it's going to be higher than that personally.
Well, I think that's just the floor. If like a nuclear bomb goes off.
Well, why don't we make a prediction now? Just for fun?
No price predictions.
Oh yeah, because Zuckerberg and all those guys watching over us or whatever. No, we're not allowed to talk about some certain stuff because we really have to keep this show educational. A lot of guys run into trouble because they tend to just want people to buy shit, and that's really, me and Sam really could care less. Like, we're gonna
probably, it would be just utterly a guess when we say prediction if we said it.
Yeah, but whatever. I think I told you 10K minimum on both. That's super bullish for my, like, I like that. Those are fucking great floors, man. And those are comfortable floors for me. And I buy Ethereum, not Bitcoin. I don't buy any Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean I would not, if I didn't have a big fat freaking chunk of money extra. I probably would speculate on Bitcoin for show, especially if it dipped. And if it gets under 8K, I will speculate 100%. But other than that, I'll probably just keep it to ETH.
Yeah, like
essentially what they're saying is they see it very bullish.
Yes.
Call it butterfly bullish. I mean,
especially when you put into context what we're talking about with Ethereum, right? You have a giant supply of Ethereum that is locked up. You have in a deflationary environment now of Ethereum in a bear market.
This is a funny comment.
1 ETH in 36 months is worth 200 social points and 40 carbon credits.
That's a good one. That might be true. I hope those credits can get me a good rate on something.
I just switched the chart for S&P 500 versus ETH, and it's still hella bullish.
Oh my god! And if anyone knows ETH and Bitcoin charts really good, they know that Ethereum ran harder, faster, a little bit more bullish in the same time frame. Like, you have to look at it from launch, right? Like, so you can't always. So if you take the Ethereum launch and go line it up with the beginning of the Bitcoin launch, you're going to see way bigger gains for Ethereum, not like ridiculously way bigger gains. And then if you put Hex right next to that chart, you're going to see a little bit more on the early upside, but now it's getting into territory where it's all kind of
right. And now, to your point, you're right. This is BTC versus Ethereum, and Ethereum is the blue one. And as you can see here,
and what do we like? These are giant trends, right? Like Ethereum's big, Bitcoin's big, right? And S&P is big, right? There's a lot of things that track the S&P. What do you know about gigantic, monumental trends that they're going to continue, and we're going to be able to see them changing a mile away? We're going to know when this changes so far in advance, but all we see is BTC going like this, Ethereum going like this, in relation to the S&P 500 like that.
I'm glad I never got involved.
I closed. I'm not saying that anybody should do this, but I knew I'd get higher returns by closing my 401k, closing my IRA, paying the taxes, paying the penalty, and putting that money to use in crypto, because there's so much more opportunity.
Hey, do you have the link for this chart in the chat for the chat? They begging and pleading for this bad boy. Hey, real quick, guys, let me take a second and say, there's the chart right there. We need you to step it up right now for the team. And it's a free step up. You don't have to do anything that costs any money, of course, because we never ask you for any money. But there's a channel that runs this show every single day. Right now it has 14 live viewers. We want everyone to go over there and subscribe. I know 100 of you probably unlike you and just leave, but I need the ones that like the channel to go over there, citmcast.com.
It's right there. It's right at the bottom.
Yep, citmcast.com. That'll bring up all of the links for the YouTube channel. Go over there. We need 1,000 subscribers so we can put all the proper little ding dong little bells and whistles on everything, and we can be effective, productive moving forward on that. And we're just keeping to these channels until then, all 3 of them. So, and then on my channel, guys, this is the cool part. When I don't have to represent the, I don't want to say any curse words and stuff while kids are in the car, of course, and stuff like that. But when I'm on my channel, let's be honest, I don't care if my channel goes away. I mean, I do, but if I have that channel and me and Sam can do the show in the morning, that's cool with me at a minimum. So on my channel, I'm going to get a little more loosey-goosey, I think, because you know what? It's been a stressful time for GRC, and he just wants to lay back and chill sometimes. But I don't want to make the show have any negative. Like, I would try not to make those. I don't want to be too negative, but I want to say the stuff I want to say. I want to say the truth, in my opinion, and sometimes people can't handle the truth. but anyway, so I'm excited, Sam. I hope we can get that channel to 1,000 soon, so we can start making moves on that. But we have it on Spotify, everything, Apple Podcast. Bullish is hooking it up, and he's back from the grave. And anyway, he was sick as shit for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I think he's better. I kind of.
Well, yeah, I'm still in the weeds. I still got a bunch of stuff I gotta do, but yeah, we fighting, we pushing through. But yeah, the goal is to essentially migrate over to the dedicated channel and step this show up to another level.
Do you think there's any way that I can, while you're here, any way like I could do like a giveaway? Oh shit, I forgot I gotta give someone something. I said,
you know me, I like giving stuff away. I'll do a giveaway.
Well, I want to do
1,000 subs. We'll do a giveaway.
Yeah. Well,
let's talk after the show. Let's come up with a proper package, and then tomorrow we'll present like a nice, giveaway package.
Yeah, because I'd like to give away something too, and I would rather pay. If I could pay money to get the channel to 1,000, I'd probably do it. But I don't really, it's not about that. It's just like
so
want to do it in a fun way.
So let's answer this so people understand and have some context of like why we want to like switch over to another channel. So for anyone who's new here and doesn't know the history. This show essentially was started by Jim Rat. Jim Rat eventually brought over Sam. I, eventually hit both of them up and asked if I can be part of the show. And, we were just pretty much doing this as, for fun, for hobby. We were passionate. We wanted to learn every day. We were doing it already. So now, it's time to take the show, a little bit more serious, step it up a notch. We see that it's providing a lot of value for people in the community. So it's very difficult for me as the last person who came in to focus on this show 100%. If it's not centralized in a way where I can operate it.
And that makes sense to me. Like that was when I learned that, because I didn't know the back end. It takes a minute to learn it, but once you understand, you do need to focus on like one.
Yeah, like it's not worth it for me to start cutting up shorts, start promoting it on multiple channels, start doing putting in hours and hours and hours and hours of work on a daily basis. If at the end of the day the only one who benefits is Sam and Jim Rat, which I have no problem with. But in order to,
I don't like it either. I want it to be,
and it's not even about benefiting as far as like views and stuff like that. It's like anything that the show produces, we want to reinvest back into it. So it's difficult to do it when it's spread across 3 different channels.
Right, but we all are also under the impression we're all new, early. This is early crypto stuff. We're excited. We're happy people. None of us are out to hurt anyone or get any benefits on anyone. We just have a little squad and we just want to have a good time and move forward and be productive within the space and earn money, of course, like everyone else, and just be a value add but it does take time, and we're all in different spots in our journey, me being probably the youngest, but also having a lot of time. So it has a helping hand with the time thing.
I
gotta stop talking about it. I gotta stop
talking about adding value and and making money, I think we should spend a couple minutes covering Icosa and Hedron and the auctions that we have coming up, which are super bullish.
Wait, before that, people are forgetting about it. People are forgetting about it, Sam. I just wanted to mention that before you keep going. People are. I can't even get someone to talk to about it other than like a couple guys. So I can tell before I could bam. Everyone wanted just now. Then you go on about some stuff if you don't mind.
So you're saying that people are not actually focusing on these auctions, correct?
Plus, they're swapping Hedron for X, and they thought it would go up forever.
Yes, I agree. I saw this.
Scared shitless to sell my Hedron. Shitless.
I'm
There's
buying
nothing else in my portfolio I'm scared to sell.
I agree. I think that there's a massive opportunity. Remember how like at the beginning on Zen, there was a bunch of people day one, and then it kind of fizzled out. You could see this in the numbers we looked at. Like a couple of days, it was like fizzling out. But then people were like, "Oh wow, you can do a 2-day mint and you can make profit, or a 4-day mint, or a week mint." And then people started doing that, and the interest continued to increase. Right. Well, I think we may potentially, if Maxi, the poly, like that thing that they're doing, if that doesn't garner the attention, or people start to realize how much money that they're making with that poly contract, it's going to draw more eyeballs in. Because like anything in a slightly efficient market, if I'm like, hey, bro, I'm making all this money by doing X, Y, Z, right? You'll hear that, and like 17 other people hear it, and 1 or 2 of those people will take action, right? And then there's 4 of us doing that, right? So the opportunity gets smaller, and then everybody's
things get oversold and things get forgot about. And I'm good at like reading on that, because I always can tell, because I just interact a lot, and I'm like, hey, people forget about these things, man. But there's like supply shock is there, whether your feelings are involved or not. And I'm not talking about buying up a bunch of HSIs, because that's really not my place, to be honest. Like I could do it, I think, but like I just don't know yet. But supply shock is what I understand. Hedron Icosa made a big run, made me feel more comfortable that there's downside available. You know, like I want that available. Like when you were talking about that 41, I was like, oh my God, I'm just blessed to God. Not that I thought it was going to go down or anything, but I knew there would be downside on that back end of that. So I was hoping for, I didn't know if anything would happen, but it's pretty low liquidity still. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Let's pull up a calculator. So we're going to pull this up, but not that we know exactly how to use this yet, but if you guys want to find this calculator, if you go to Telegram, go to is it Icosa or Hedron chat, Bullish?
Icosa. I'll drop everything in the chat.
And can we give Pacific NW_hex a wrench? He's literally given us a super chat for like 12 days straight and asked really good questions on every single one, and he's nothing but nice. So I want wrench.
Wrenchy poo.
Wrenchy poo. We call it.
Yeah, I got it.
It's a wrenchy poo here on the East Coast.
When you pull up this calculator, they give you a little bit of the direction. So let's just read through these. So like I pulled this up right before we were getting on here, at the beginning of the show. This is what I was looking at, which I was excited about. So what we have here, gray cells. So gray cells require users' input values. Only those gray cells are editable, and the rest of the sheet will calculate automatically based on these inputs. So there's an HSI calculator, a Hedron Mint calculator, Hedron Advance, matching HSI. So I don't know what matching is. So let's just read through this, because I don't know what they actually mean by this. A calculator that lets you input the amount of hex you want to stake in an HSI to create a stake to advance on, and then provides you amounts required to make a second HSI stake that you can mint off of to pay the advance to mitigate risk. Okay, so this is one of those things that like Sloth or those other guys talk about a lot more than I do, but using debt with Hedron, right? Because you can advance against it. Not something that I personally would do or want to spend my time doing at this moment. At this point, it could change. Could change.
I think in a couple of years, if a lot of these things are still stable, like there could be a lot of action there. But I'm talking like, and I think everyone kind of knew that. They understood that system just because if you look at the numbers, it just doesn't really make much sense because you could just buy Hedron.
Yes. Then there's an Icosa calculator. So this is
What do you think about this comment, Sam, about Icosa? Guys, please understand Icosa is directly tied to Hex T share price very tightly. It can even outperform Hex. It is impossible. It cannot ever outperform Hex. It is impossible. Yes, I am 100% aware of that.
I don't think it's tied that closely.
Yeah, I don't know about the closeness of it, but I don't think it has more upside. But I get more yield, and I like having a stable kind of like coin. So like,
yeah, I don't know. I definitely don't see Icosa making more gains than Hex.
No, but I'm saying if Hex goes to $1 and Icosa goes to $20, GRC happy.
Correct.
I mean, you know what I mean? Since it's a ratio.
But then you have that, what did you call it? Unit bias, right? You're going to have something that's $20 now, right? There's going to be not as many people that are.
Well, I already got it, you sons of guns. So I'll dump it all over your mouth. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but whenever something's pumping out Hedron for me, it gives me a little bit of titillation.
I think the thing that does have the biggest, from my point of view, the biggest pump right now, or in the near term, like over the next 3 months, is Hedron, right? I think
Hedron, in my opinion, I want to say it one more time before you finish, and I think we've both said this since day flipping, but since it kind of went sideways. I feel that Hedron has the most upside potential from this point today on within the ecosystem that I have the coins of, like within Icosa, Hex, Hedron, Maxi. I think, and even Ethereum, I think that Hedron has the most upside as far as X's. Now, we're not talking about liquidity pools. We're talking about X's, but I think there is stability within the liquidity pools already.
Yes. That's an interesting question. Do you think that this we can answer this on the next one? I'll just throw it out here to get some fun here real quick. Do you think that Hex could underperform Ethereum given it's deflationary? Let me finish. Given that it's deflationary now, a bunch of the supply is locked up, and what does everybody buy? Anybody with money that's coming into crypto, they're not fucking buying Hex. They're buying something that they know, like BTC or Ethereum, right? Ethereum's traded on all these other platforms. Right? We don't need to get into it in this show. We can get back into the calculator.
Wow. I think the answer to that is no.
I think I agree with that.
I think the answer to that is no. I think Hex at a minimum from this point, let's call it 4 cents, has I would say I want to say $1 is probably like my floor. Like for the bull run, that's the floor. Like the floor, and upside from there, who the hell knows? But I think like because that's only a 1.5x from the last all-time high. Or like not even that. So people have to remember that. The last time we crossed all-time highs, we went from two pennies to 56. So I think taking a step down from there, but we're too light. It's too light. It's a different asset class at this point. And after the next cycle, I think it'll be more cemented if all legality and everything comes to good, how the people get around this time of gets cold in the SEC house, you know what I'm saying? But like, so I think, but no, I don't, but it's a great question. And it's totally possible that Ethereum does. It's possible, which is crazy to even say. Imagine if Ethereum went to like 45 grand.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Me neither.
But to your point though, there's with the amount of liquidity for Ethereum versus the amount of liquidity for Hex, I don't think that could really it's more of like a hypothetical, but I don't think that it really is going to be that big of a deal. But let's finish up.
Elon gets Hex tattooed on his chest.
What's that?
What if Elon got the Hex logo tattooed on his chest? You think we would do a couple more X's?
I don't think that seems very probable, but
yeah, well, in the world of DeFi, everything goes to zero.
Because of the market cap, right? If you have a market cap of $5 billion for X and you have a market cap of 130 billion for Ethereum, it's just not going to happen. Ethereum is just not going to perform better than Hex over some period of time, unless Richard does something really stupid, which is 100% possible, yes. or it becomes more regulated in a way where Hex is looked upon as a security, because we both know that the government will just change the rules to suit them. So if it's currently not a security, and they don't like it, and they don't like you, right? First, they'll try to silence you, right? And then
Sam knows about this shit big time.
They'll try to silence you. Yep.
Sam's freedom. This is when I started watching Sam's video. Half his videos were about this shit. Like half his videos were about pharma and stuff. The other half was literally about political, like, unjust. And I would watch it with a little bit of a blind naivete about it, like, but it was always like, so I know that this is striking a chord with you because you know what's going on right now, Sam. A lot of crazy stuff's going on, and I want you to be right in the mix on covering it because you have so much experience here. So much.
Very interesting stuff. So let's touch on this. Let's touch on the
yeah. So real quick. So the stats, the user stats are entered on this side, and then it'll update it on this side.
So is it here or in the Icosa arbitrage where we can put in the stats of an HSI that's coming up for auction? Is it into the arbitrage one?
Correct. Here. So enter your HSI stake stats. So if once you have the stats of that specific HSI, you can enter it here.
Okay.
Let's put it. Oh, I'm sorry. Right here, down here. Sorry.
You guys got
it's pretty much grabbing it from up there.
We got 10 more minutes in the tank.
Yes, and then we'll wrap it up. But we'll just try to get through this one part here. Okay, so
in this particular case, it's using an example of 1,000 B shares, staked for 55555, and 0 days minted with no multiplier.
Okay, and then go down to the bottom for a second. So guys, I'm going to just touch on this before we get into this calculator section here, Bullish. What this means is this data is going to show us something. If there's a Hex stake with 1,000 Hex, how much Icosa could you get, right? So if you were like, okay, well, 1,000 times 4 cents.
Well, now 1,000, one T share.
One T share is like 8,400 Hex, right? So 8,400 Hex. So then this is going to tell you how much Icosa, so you can calculate how much like this says 244 Icosa, right? To the fourth one right there.
Correct.
Yep. 245, right? So 245, if Icosa is $1, that means it's 245 for this. That means if you could buy this stake for $200 with Hedron and then just turn around and mint it again and dump that, you just made $50. That's what's going to happen as time goes on. However, Icosa's price, I think, is like $1.50 or $1.35 or something at this moment, right? So what do we got here in the middle? Arbitrage stats. 1 T share, total staked days is 555 days. The current creation costs. So the current creation cost, I don't know what that actually is. I think that was to implement the stake. It sounds like
correct. That's what it was created, and at the current price, I believe. Yes, that's correct.
And then this is the current price of Icosa, so they're approximately the same, right? Somebody could create the stake for $330, and then they could turn around and mint it with Icosa and make $336, but then they have to consider the transaction costs, so it wouldn't be profitable once you factored in transaction costs, right? And this is averaging about $7 for gas, which might be accurate, might not be accurate. This is a good
I think it'll be higher.
I think it will be higher.
And anything with direct activity on Ethereum is very sensitive.
And then you can go through and change these. So if you guys want to check this calculator out, go to Okay, let's try a 25,000 B share one here. Let's go down here. That's 6,100 or 8,400. Now, if you can buy this HSI for, say, the current, it says the current value. Can you highlight the current value of Icosa mintable? The other side. There's $8,400 of Icosa that you could currently mint on this. So if you could buy this for $4,000 with Hedron, because not a lot of people are paying attention, not a lot of people understand this, right? If you can buy this for $4,000.
Man, it gets tiring and boring over these weeks hearing about this stuff. I don't even really care anymore, nor do I want to participate. That's the vibe that 90% of people get. You know, I don't even get a smell of it, because it's just like, nope, supply shrank. Let me get action. But we already got action, you know. But I mean, I'm not saying we wouldn't buy more or whatever, because actually things are a little lower than I would have assumed. But I think that's because Hex did a fake out pump. I think people arbed over, and I think people are getting wrecked on that right now as we speak.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So you guys should check this out. We'll do another stream here with maybe the calculator, or try to pull up a auction as we get closer, like the day of, so that people can understand this and cover this in more detail. Or if you guys have any questions, you can let us know on Twitter.
Great viewership today.
Yeah, Sam, why don't you leave us with some closing thoughts?
Yeah,
so,
leave us with some stuff.
I want to kind of recap what we've talked about today, right? There's 4 main areas. The Fed minutes, right? What do we pull from that? A couple different things. Employment, the employment rate is going to go up, meaning there's going to be more people without jobs. Interest rates are going to continue to go up. That's what Jerome Powell reiterated multiple times. GDP, the economy is shrinking, right? The economy, the growth rate he expects to get worse, which just means the economy is going to get worse than it currently is. Number 2, Zen, right? There's a framework you can utilize to think about crypto. Does it have product market fit? Does it adhere to the principles in crypto? And what is the community like? Is the community growing? Is the community like-minded people who are smart, who are trying to do things and expanding and helping people? Right? That's what you can utilize to evaluate different cryptos. Zen is very interesting, and over the last couple of days is performing very well. Then we took a look at SPY versus BTC. SPY versus BTC chart, super interesting, right? BTC utterly dominated SPY. Lastly, we dove into the HSI auctions. If you want to check out the HSI auction calculator, jump into the Icosa Telegram, and you can get it there. And we're going to leave you with some awesome DeFi proof bullish. Take us away. Peace.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a state. Got me some Hedron, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way.